So Netflix's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out today. Unfortunately, I cannot see Uncharted in theaters for a few days because obviously I am still sick, but I was able to check out this film today. And my god, is it awful. So I watched the original back in October. I actually have a movie reaction for that. You can check it out. I will link it up here and down below. And I liked it. I didn't love it. There are millions of problems with that movie, but there are also things that are great and very iconic about it. This movie, on the other hand, is awful. None of you should check this out. This is one of the worst films I've seen in quite some time. And sure, there is the odd good thing about this movie, but overall, it's bad and gets worse. I mean, when the best part about a horror slasher-ish movie is the first act, when none of the killing happens, that's when you know you don't have a good movie on your hands. And for me, as the movie went along, it just progressively got worse and worse and worse. And one of the biggest problems here, and this isn't even like one of the obvious ones, but they introduce themes. There's one theme about anti-gun. They introduce it, and it's great. They really should. But by the end, they double back on it. I'm not going to spoil anything in this video. I might make a spoiler video for my Patreon, but they just double back on that and so many other things. But some of the obvious things that sucked in this movie, I mean, the kills are gore and graphic, so unlike the original, there's nothing that's left up to your imagination. You just see everything. You're like, oh, okay, ooh, gross. Anyway, and you kind of just move on because it's like, okay, I saw everything that happened. Whereas in the original, someone will be put in like a meat hook or something, which is obviously disgusting, and then you're left wondering what's going to happen because it'll cut away or some other situation like that. But here, you just see everything. It's disgusting. Sure, it looks realistic, whatever. It's 2022. I'd hope that Netflix gives a film a high enough budget to make their kills look disgusting and real enough, but still, there is no substance with this film. The kills are just boring, I guess, just because you know everything that happens. You're like, oh, they're dead anyway. And just like the original, the characters aren't that interesting. There's only really one character that is slightly interesting, and that is Elsie Fisher. I think that's her name. Her character, she was in 8th grade. She was fantastic in 8th grade. She's easily the best part of the movie, but even her character, again, by the end, just gets screwed over. I mean, I can see the actors in this movie, for the most part, at least for the teenagers, the main stars, are doing their best. They're doing as well as they can, and I can see they're good actors. But the script is just so bad that it makes them seem like bad actors, and I feel bad for them. And the film just really isn't interesting. You watch it goes scene to scene, and I'm just thinking, when is this over? And it also feels like the movie wasn't long enough to be a feature, so they just slowed down certain moments and just dragged it out and made it boring. I mean, this movie's like an hour and 23 minutes, yet still somehow finds a way to be boring in some sequences. That says a lot right there. And as for the character of Leatherface, he does exactly what you expect him to do. He kills, he grunts, he doesn't say anything, he just looks people dead in the eye and nothing really happens, and then he chases them with a chainsaw. That's basically 3/4 of the movie. And then there's this other part of the movie where they're trying to move in to this place. These teenagers are trying to change things up, and you know, there can be good contrast where you have all these young teenagers who want to prevent stuff like guns, and then you have these, you know, gross rednecks, whatever, Confederate flags, you know, terrible things like that. And the contrast could have worked, except they find the most boring and uninteresting way to do that. And again, this movie sucked. I know a lot of people are out there actually liking this movie, and I know a lot of people who watch this video will be big fans of the whole franchise of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Again, I've only seen the original, and I like it. This movie, on the other hand, sucks. The character writing is awful. The story, again, just gets progressively worse and worse and worse. Characters make terrible decisions. Again, the acting, at times, you can see how these actors kind of shine and could be good in many moments, except the script just screws them over. There are so many terrible decisions made that I out loud, like, had a audible reaction to something like, oh my god, why would you do that? Oh, you're gonna get killed. Boom. And then at times I could say, oh yeah, they're gonna go do this. Somebody's dead. Oh, great. And it does kind of feel like that 2018 Halloween kind of rehash, but adding some new things in it. I actually am not a big fan of the 2018 one, although this movie makes that one look like a masterpiece. I mean, that movie's fine. It's alright. This movie is awful, and comparing those two doesn't even seem fair at this point. I mean, I liked Halloween Kills more than this movie, and this review, again, is very fast-paced, just because there's not really anything I liked about the movie. I mean, there's the odd time where something will be interesting, and I actually did laugh at some moments. Like, they weren't funny moments, they weren't supposed to be like intentionally funny. I just thought it was so dumb that I was laughing out loud. I do not recommend anybody watches this movie. I think it is awful. I had some excitement going into it, but if I'm being straight up, this movie sucked. I could see it being the worst movie of this year, at least for me. Netflix's Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the most horrendous films I've seen in quite some time. They introduced some interesting themes, but then doubled back on them in the end. Also, don't get me started on the writing. Yikes. I'm gonna give Netflix's Texas Chainsaw Massacre a 1.5 out of 5. Again, it barely got that 0.5, and in all honesty, that doesn't really mean anything because I don't recommend you guys watch the movie. Although, if you did like it, I'd be interested to know why down below, because again, a lot of people did like this movie. Some people I've heard even say it's better than the original. That's very odd. I don't normally hear that, but I didn't think it was good. Okay, that's just my opinion. I know a lot of you will like it, and please tell me why down below. I will definitely not be watching this one again, and in all honesty, we'll probably get like 2 or 3 more of these, and they will probably get worse and worse, but hey, this is just my opinion. Thank you all for watching. Tell me your favorite modern horror movie in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.